But I do have one example of the opposite, where it seems to be a monster wearing a human mask. And that person is Jesse Waters. Now, Jesse Waters has really terrible reactions and is sort of like he's the Tucker Carlson that's supposed to be less overthrow the government-y and more trans people are monsters-y. And
isn't Tucker Carlson kind of like
you
that? You
caught one of his yeah, but Tucker Carlson is like he's said a few things like hyper Christian religious fascist things that allegedly Rupert Murdoch didn't like. But Jesse Waters was intentionally meant as like a replacement that won't touch the same shit as Tucker and is easier to rein in, you know. I don't know if he's younger though. I think they just decided it's his turn. He's more capable. He used to do like ambush journalism for Fox, sort of like the last guy that we talked about, the documentarian. Except Jesse Waters ambushes like Democrats and asks them about like bullshit. Or like he pissed off a journalist once because he ambushed a private citizen and like made her talk on cameras and stuff during a fucking
If you're thinking about buying solar panels, don't.
During a literal
Literally buy them for you. If you take
oh
60
no,
seconds to
shut
answer
up.
questions below. Hi there. If you are a homeowner in America and you wouldn't mind saving a couple $1,000
No.
this year, then you're really good.
We're getting insane video in right now.
Yeah, but I don't know what I was saying now because all of that happened.
Huh? So that it would be in frame.
Yeah, it doesn't fit in the frame
of
up
the
there.
podcast.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't that pretty cool?
It's really
Get
cool.
that shit for free.
Yeah.
And that pipe, like
Yeah.
that photo thing.
Timu, I feel like a billionaire. I feel like a billionaire.
I think it's funny.
It's one of their songs. I've heard a few different songs from them.
I think it's funny that their slogan is "Shop like a billionaire" because that's the exact opposite of how a billionaire shops. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Get cheap shit.
Like,
Yeah, it's very funny. Very funny. Buy the cheapest Chinese produced things on the internet that you can find, like a billionaire would.
yeah, like no, billionaires are buying fucking designer.
The idea is that your money goes really far. But that's like, you don't say Dollar Tree lets you shop like a rich man, you know?
That's a really good example because it's exactly the same as that.
Yeah.
Not even $1 anymore.
So you want to introduce this clip, Bradley?
Do I want to introduce it?
Yeah. You want to introduce the clip B?
Well, I don't know anything about this clip. I see a white guy on Fox News. Nothing special here. Social media influencer sparks mayhem in NYC is the headline.
Yeah. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear anything about this.
So Kai Cenat is a really famous Twitch streamer.
Okay.
And he did a PS5 giveaway in Madison Square Park, something like that. I don't know New York, but he did it in a place in New York, and it became like a shit fest. He didn't get permits or anything, and it became like pretty close to a riot, like sort of like, you know, when a bunch of sports fans lose a game, how they get in the streets, like it's like almost a riot. It's pretty much a riot. It's like they break a few things, and it's like, but like it's like indirect violence caused by just having too many people in a place without any direction. Yeah. And this motherfucker like came out and tried to walk through with his fans, and he realized there were too many people. And he's like running through the crowds, and like they drop their camera during a live stream, and the fucking camera goes out like a fucking zombie movie. It is very hilarious. I would look it up, but I don't have it pre-planned. But so during this riot thing, they were just like all over Kai's. They were hound dogging Kai pretty bad, and they were like literally climb. It was like a zombie film. There's like a helicopter shot of a bunch of people on top of his car as his driver tries to drive away at like 20 miles per hour. There are people holding onto the car and falling off of the car as they drive down the street away.
It's like World War Z.
Yeah, it's straight up like it is a remarkable sight, and I might put stills of it in post, maybe not, because this recording thing is meant to make it easier for me. But so this is Jesse Waters, and he's a racist.
Are you saying that because he's a Fox News guy, or is he like actually like straight up racist?
I'll let you be the judge.
Okay.
Of a social media influencer giveaway gone wrong. A massive mob swarming a busy New York City park.
You know what? I wanted to have the headphones because it's recording audio on here. So let's get the headphones real quick. Let's pull the headphones out. You want to hand me mine?
Oh shit.
You're good.
Thought I handed it to you. All right.
It's getting a little toasty in here. That's why it's called the Smoke Up, and now the theme song plays. Yeah. I do the entire intro, and then it like fades back into us talking again. No, I don't think I would do that. Do you think that would make people stop watching it? Like they would just be like, "Okay, I'm done."
I think it would be pretty funny to do that at least once.
Okay.
It's the smoke up, where we toke up. Time to roll up. Shit, I hold up. It's the smoke up.
Well, maybe we did it. We'll see
Just
whether or not
play
we
like
did
the first 5 seconds of the theme song and then cut it and be like, no.
it. Okay. There we go.
Overtaking the streets and clashing with the cops. All to meet.
Where we toke up. Time to roll up. Shit, I hold up.
Heard that.
Popular YouTuber
I don't hear this
social
video.
media
now.
mob swarming a busy New York City park, overtaking and clashing with the cops. All to meet popular
hear it, but
YouTuber
it's quiet?
Sanat, who promised to give out free.
You don't hear it at all?
No. Maybe it's the headphone jack. This is as loud as it gets.
PlayStations, computers, and
There it
gift
goes.
cards. Video from the scene shows crowds setting off fire extinguishers in anticipation of his arrival, and police dragging away members of the crowd. And when
freezing a
Ka
little bit.
got on the scene, the anarchy intensified. Fans surrounded his car, blocking him from leaving. Ka was forced to speed away with people clinging onto his roof and chasing
So
him
funny
down the
is that
street,
shit.
seemingly without having given anything away. There are no known injuries or arrests, and police are urging people to avoid the area. Okay, so Tyrus, when you saw this happen, did you have any idea this was a YouTube giveaway?
No, and it just looked like a riot. And this is, every time I hear the cringe word influencer, like, what did you influence? You influenced a riot. Like they give away stuff. This was all for media attention to get a bunch of likes or follows on his YouTube. And this is what happens when you give away free things. The worst people show up. And we saw this in the pandemic with free money. Like every time anything's free, this is what happens. And when high-marked items like PlayStation 5, which because of the pandemic, because of our great transportation czar, you couldn't get anything. And PlayStation sat on boats for almost 2 years. So if you go into any store to get one for your kids, you can't. You have to order them, and it's a back order. So this is a high-value item, and it brought out the worst. And this is what happens. And all I could do was watch it. I was like, man, please don't let it be us that acted a fool and flipping cars. And then I'm watching the video, and
That's
I'm like,
the
damn
MAGA
it,
rapper guy.
it's us again. Like we just
I recognize
You mean
him.
Fox News fans?
I recognize him too. Actually.
Gutfeld's right there.
People on
He
the
did the
side.
Target song.
Martha, you are a big YouTuber. You
Big Cosmonaut fan.
big fan of
It's
Cosmonaut.
funny.
I'm one of his 5.5 million followers.
Did you have any idea
I
the
just-
power?
It's really funny that this guy would be saying that the word influencer is cringe. Using the word cringe. Like the word cringe isn't just as cringe as the word influencer. Like they're both the exact type of vernacular as each other. The same
Word
type of
cringe is
person.
kinda cringe.
Yeah, but if you're using the word influencer, you're using the word cringe. Period. Like that's usually like if you're the type of person who has that in your
Yeah.
language, then like who has to use that, then you have to use the word influencer
Well,
too.
it's not
like-
necessarily because influencer is like an official term now. That's like a job title. That's
Yeah.
that's what people call like.
but it's also a generalized term. I mean,
It
it's
is
just,
very generalized. It
yeah.
doesn't mean anything really, but
No.
like
but it's like the same. It's from the same age of language. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
for sure.
so if you're saying cringe, you're most likely also saying influencer.
Most of the people who are influencers are using the word cringe.
Yeah. Especially like that's undebatable. I'm not sure like the Venn diagram of these two things, but yeah, I think it's just as cringe to say the word cringe.
Of
Yeah.
Cosmonaut.
I like the word
Not until
cringe.
about 7.5 minutes ago.
People
when
made it
I
cringe
dug in and
to
did some
say it.
research, I watched some of his videos. He's 21 years old. He's younger than my kids. And he was, talking, doing an interview. And one of the main topics of the
She looks good
interview
for her
is
age.
the benefits and
How old is she?
drawbacks of fake
She
it
says
till
she
you
has
make
a
it.
kid who's over 21
Right?
years old.
So I'm thinking, what does he actually do? So I looked up some of his
So hopefully
videos,
she's at
and
least in
he's
her
mostly
mid-30s.
sitting on really fancy cars, showing off his
That's
clothing,
even lower than
his
I was
fashion,
thinking.
forward clothing. He's holding key fobs in his hands to prove that he has all these amazing cars. It's not incredibly deep. In terms of what he's influencing out there. But this is, I agree with Tyrus. It's like, why
Yeah,
are
look
we
at that
giving
shot.
stuff away? I mean, why is this beneficial to society? This is a mess waiting to happen from the get-go. And, we give
This
too
looks
much
like-
away, actually, in this country.
Like our
There's
hearts.
too
This
much
looks
free
like
stuff
footage
that is going
from
out there.
a zombie
And
movie
maybe it would be better
shooting.
if everybody sort of
Like,
earned what they wanted to.
Yeah.
So Kennedy, you've seen some of these things.
Before we
You saw
move on, I want to point out a few things. They're focusing so much on if you offer free stuff, these are the type of people who will come out. And it's like let's be real, these are mostly black teenagers. Kai Cenat's a black influencer, really big. This is New York. These kids don't have much to do at this time. So they came out to see this streamer probably interact with each other, and a lot of them are black teenagers, and the whole this is exactly the type of chaos you get when you offer people stuff for free, like the stimulus checks, which is kind of trying to connect social protests to the stimulus checks in some type of way, because what else are they connecting to, a stimulus check other than a BLM protest? Even though the timing is a little bit off there, that's the only type of connection I could see there. But
well, it seems like they're just overall. They're doing the whole.
even the chick, she's like, "Oh, he's out here showing off his chains and his money and all that." I mean, there's a frame of him running on his Twitch. He's out there for 5 minutes until he becomes terrified and runs back into the car, and they drive off right there. He was just as freaked out by the situation as anybody else. He was just kind of too dumb to know what he should have done, which I think that's the biggest criticism here. But I think it's interesting that they're focusing so much on oh, this is what happens when you get a bunch of these people in one spot.
Yeah, well, they're doing the whole if you feed the fucking pigeons, they come around looking for more food. That whole
Yeah.
thing. When you hear people use that analogy a lot, they'll use the analogy of animals when they're referring to poor people.
Yeah.
And basically what they're saying is you shouldn't help people who are in need because then they become dependent.
Yeah.
Which sometimes can be true, but I think that's a pretty horrible generalization to make on society as a whole.
Yeah. And it's such a strange thing to say, like, that it will literally lead directly to riots if you offer free things. Like, just that directly, and connecting it that directly to welfare. Like, it's just.
Yeah.
So Black Lives Matter. You've seen the anti-Trump
I just fucking said it. I said Black Lives Matter before they said it, and he's the first one to fucking bring it up. This is the first motherfucker to bring it to Black Lives Matter. What's the only similarity here? It's a crowd of mostly black people. That's the only similarity here.
protests. This looks a little different than those things, but also, I mean, the same amount of people.
Well, unfortunately, the same thing can happen because, as we see with riots, they build and build and build. And the crescendo is what's so dangerous because you have people who are watching this on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. They have FOMO, so they rushed this.
And also the police reacted way over the top. Like you can kind of see it right here. They're like pinning people in with parts of like cop gates. I have no idea what the fuck these things are, but they're like weird machines.
They try and get there, and more people show up. The later it goes, the dumber people get. And my worry is that, you know, there are kids, it's the middle of summer. A lot of kids are unsupervised right now. They're just screwing around. And I worry that someone is going to get seriously hurt. And all these influencers are trying to do is show
there's
they
the
can
police
pull a
using
crowd.
tear
They just want to
gas.
show that they can
of
create
course.
a massive scene, that they've got so much clout and so much pull.
But they
And,
didn't,
you know,
like,
as Tyrus
I
would
don't
say,
know
this is
what
the flex for them.
crimes
So
they
that they can get
committed.
a ton of people in one
They kind of
place
just
and
acted
create
a little
utter chaos
crazy.
just because people are so excited to see them. And that's a win. That
I would
is what
hope
victory looks like
jumping
when you
on
are an
someone's car
influencer.
Yeah, I
while
mean,
they're
you used to
driving
have the
away.
big-
Yeah, that's bad. But it's like,
Top of the
I mean, a
roof,
lot of these
and they
people
used
just
to play
came here for a
music, and
PS5
people used to
giveaway.
swarm around.
Like,
But that was
I would
actually a
guarantee
performance.
80% of these
This
people
guy's
came
just
here for a
throwing around
PS5 giveaway at the very
Real
least.
quick before you Steve call.
Well, I mean, if that's what the whole thing is, I'm assuming
Yeah,
this
that's
is
what
why
it
they
is.
showed up.
Yeah.
He was offering something that everybody wanted, PlayStations. Scott Baio could have came back today and went to and said, I'm going to give away PlayStations, computers downtown. The same mob would have showed up. That's the thing. It's not him.
Be
Because-
respectful to
You mean Chachi?
Scott Baio.
Yeah, and I think he can still do it. He's still in charge. But the point is, that's the thing. The illusion is him. It's not him.
Right.
Because once he showed up and didn't have what they wanted him in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, if I showed up,
It's so weird to be a
promising
political
PS5s
pundit
I didn't
and
have
a
PS5s,
rapper, like
you're-
a
it'd
dude
be
on
some
the
trouble.
news, like
Is that him
chopping it
going
up
up
with the
in that?
news people, and
I mean,
then
he handed
also
out
doing
something.
Yeah.
Preliminarily,
songs.
when you do, I
It's
wanna
just
when
so
you do
weird.
something like this, you got to have permits if
Times
you're going
we
to
live in
draw
now.
this kind of draw this many people. We've had someone in the network already saying that.
I would like
you
if
know,
they
the
showed
freedom
the
to assemble is a
credentials
freedom to
under
assemble
their
as long as
names.
you walk through you satisfy certain
Like,
requirements.
what's this guy's
People who
what's
don't
this guy's
generally arrive, and those
experience?
are the people that should be.
Who's he? What does he
should
do?
be held accountable by the law. Two, this says a lot about us too. I think your point, both you and Tyrus, both you and Martha, are saying about how all of us are saying how people want free stuff. I mean, our value system is a little warped here. We would all show up for PlayStation 5s. I mean, it's different going to see the Beatles or going to see Hammer or going to see LL or going to see
Hammer.
Bobby Brown. Every little step, Tenderoni. Going to see that for free is a very different proposition. But I hope,
What?
I hope the police hold accountable.
What is
We're
that?
getting a report
What
right
is
now
that
this
supposed
guy
to mean?
Casanat has been arrested by
He's like, it's okay if
NYPD.
people like
We
all
haven't
get in a
confirmed it
crowd
yet,
for
but
a
those
free
are the reports,
concert,
Martha.
but when it's for something free that I don't
mean,
care
you know,
about.
it reminds me of,
That's
and
bad.
you're right to make this distinction. Some of these kids just went down there. They're not bothering anybody. Other people, there were reports of hitting police. We see so many scenes of people who think that they're giving away everything free at Gucci and in the drugstore. And throwing stuff, in the back of bags and running away with it. So, there's a lot of out of control behavior. And I think Harold's right. I think it goes to sort of an undercurrent in society that is unnerving and unsettling to all of us.
So now this guy's going to have a
Jesse,
mugshot,
let's-
and he's got this Talk about clout, Kennedy.
Yeah, I don't think he's upset about this at all. I think, wearing the little silver bracelets today is the cherry on his Friday, Sunday. And he's good with it. Now, I remember in 1991, I was very excited to go to the Sunset Strip and see a little bit of hair metal. You know who pulled up? And red convertible Lambo? MC Hammer.
Ooh.
And you know what happened? He was mobbed by everyone, metal fans, hip hop fans. He was mobbed by everyone on the street. I've never seen a person with a bigger smile on his face.
He loved it.
He was so happy to have touched off that moment. And I was like, please, Hammer, don't hurt him. He's like, this doesn't hurt at all. This feels so good. And unfortunately, that is the effect that he's going for. But stay safe. Don't be dingbats. It's not worth it.
Can't touch this.
Okay.
Hey,
Can't
Sean Hannity
touch
here.
this.
Hey,
Okay.
click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube
What-
page. And
Where do you fall on the racist meter for Jesse Waters' segment right there? You could be honest. We could have a little debate here. Because I think that shit was racist. I think he kind of said it without saying it, obviously. I think that's like a big part of it. But to connect something like that to Black Lives Matter, that wouldn't have happened during like a sports event, that wouldn't have happened during a concert like they kept comparing it to, like with a musician. They wouldn't have been like comparing it to BLM. The only connection there is that there's a lot of black people involved, that it's like a black dominant thing happening, and being like, well, yeah, this is just like the last time a bunch of black people got together in the streets. It's a lot different than the free concerts I went to. These free PS5s, if you give them welfare, then they're going to go out there and go crazy.
It is a little weird because I didn't understand the whole thing about like free concerts.
Yeah,
That didn't make any sense
they were
to me.
like doing a premature defense of what, like the things that, like where you get big crowds of white people acting crazy. I feel like, like.
No, what I got from that is what they were saying is like, if you get people together for a free concert, that's like an event that they're attending. But when you offer them something that they can bring home and call their own possession, that's when they go wild. That's kind of what I got out of it.
Yeah,
but it didn't really make sense.
Then why compare that to BLM?
Yeah, that's where it's.
Other than you view that as welfare, and BLM, Black Lives Matter, are also people who are all about welfare. And obviously these people are all about welfare too. They're just a whole bunch of people who love welfare, who will cause crimes
At
if
the
they're all
very
together.
least, it's classist.
Yeah, well, it's definitely classist, but
more
like-
often than not borders on racism, because let's be real, there's a very big fucking intersection in the Venn diagram with classism and racism.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's like
middle takes up
almost a
most of the
circle.
fucking
Yeah.
circle. It's almost
Yeah.
a full circle, and then there's just like little edges right here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, anytime people talk about poor people like they're animals or
Yeah.
whatever,
Like going
they're
crazy.
almost certainly talking about minorities in the same way. That's
Yeah.
usually what they're thinking. They're not thinking about poor white people. You know what I mean? Like, not usually.
That's why they're defensively bringing up free concerts. Because, like,
Is that a white thing? Like, what?
well, I think just like
I've never heard of a free concert.
free concerts are here they do a lot of free concerts, and people, like a bunch of white people, will get drunk and get together, and it's Fox News, like they're targeting rural demographics and like red voters, so like that's what they're aiming for. They're saying like those get-togethers are okay, but these get-togethers are bad. And like obviously you should have got permits, but that's the only thing separating that and like anything else. Like if it was a concert, some people get arrested during a concert. The police are out there during concerts, it's like, it's no different than if Metallica performed in the middle of the fucking park. Like it's just, he should have got permits. He committed that individual crime. But as far as people getting arrested, that fucking happens anytime you get a bunch of people together, because there's obviously going to be one shithead in 1,000 people,
What happened here, though? Like, because, like, what started that shit?
He did a post on social media saying that he was going to be at the park giving away PS5s.
And that's all it took for people to show up and
Yeah.
just act like complete fucking
Like
savages.
it just went crazy. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But it's because he was unprepared. He just didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
It's hard to comprehend that that's how shit happens.
Well, because you're supposed to like actually have infrastructure set up for events. You know, you can't just tell a whole bunch of people to show up in one spot. That's called a flash mob. You know, like it doesn't work like that.
But even like I can imagine a bunch of people showing up and being upset, being like, "Whoa, well, this is way too crowded. I'm not going to get anything. I'm pissed now." It's hard to imagine like actual human beings showing up to this thing and within minutes jumping on the dude's car like a fucking zombie. Like these are people doing this shit, you know what I mean? Like,
well, he didn't give out any PS5s. He just tried to dip.
But like, holy fuck!
Yeah.
Like, y'all are crazy.
What if they walked clear across town to try to get a PS5 and he didn't even try to give one out?
Yeah, I just
in a crowd of fucking 1,500 people, there's at least 12 people that'll be mad enough to jump on the car, I guess.
Holy shit, man. It's just.
But yeah, there should have been infrastructure set up before he even called the event.
Yeah.
Calling the event should have been the last thing he did after it was all set up. Obviously, like anybody in their right mind would know. But he's like a new age, like new media alpha, not alpha, streamer bro, like Twitch bro.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really give a fuck about laws like that. Like a lot of streamers
He
don't.
probably didn't really think it through. I didn't really think it was a big deal.
Someone had to have told him, dude, that's not legal. Someone had to have told him.
You would think, but
maybe.
But how often do you see like big time YouTubers make a really fucking stupid mistake, and you think to yourself, nobody told them that they shouldn't do that?
Yeah.
So I think we make the assumption that these people like have a team that is actually reliable and in their corner, and that's not always the case. Like they probably have a team who is their friends from high school and they're all a bunch of fucking dumbasses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's probably the case most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I go ahead and talk. I gotta pee again. I drank a whole bunch of coffee before I left because I was really tired, and I was all like, well, I gotta drink a bunch of coffee, and then I have to pee a bunch now.
Yeah, I know how that goes. I get it. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty wild. I think it's pretty wild to react that violently over something like a PS5, like a free PS5 giveaway. I don't know.